Meg-tooth savers requires a lot of work on engineering, drilling, smoothing, tapping, setting, imagining, cutting, stripping, twisting, dipping, tin it, pin it, wire it, fire it, lock it, cast it, swing it, bash it. Meg-tooth savers.
Greetings, Saber fans. Your old pal, Meg-tooth Sith. Sabers up. Dark Force Transcendence. Figure that's appropriate since tonight we're kind of building. Well, we're not kind of building. We are building. So we've been building these crossguards from KROR, and tonight we're going to install this thing with Proffieboard. It's going to be awesome. Saber's right over here, ready to go. And I'm going to put you guys on a Hey Senzi. Just want a quick shout out to Mundo Cabrera, Mountain Sabers, Senzi, and anyone else that pops on here. I'll try to keep up with the chat while we're doing this, but as usual, you know, it's difficult for me to to keep up the chat while I'm under my headgear and all this stuff that I'm getting ready to do while we're installing. Hey everybody. So still down on my weight loss, still doing good there. I am down 55 pounds from where I was in September. So that's awesome. I played hockey for the first time this last Sunday night, which was awesome. I didn't do that great, but, I played. So that was a good thing. But at any rate, I'm going to get you guys moved over. So stand by and let's do a screen capture, and we'll send you guys to we're going to look at a Proffie pin map because I'm going to need this anyway. We're going to look at a Proffie pin map, Proffie 2.2 pin map. Some of y'all have seen this before, but this is a Proffieboard pin map. And, I usually start on my boards down on this side. And I am going to need data 2 and data 3. And then I'll need both speakers. LED 6 is not going to be used. LED 5 is not going to be used. LED 4 is going to be one quillion. LEDs 2 and 3 are the main blade, and LED 1 is the other quillion. I will need my battery negative, my switch ground, and of course we're going to have both our buttons there on the corners. My battery positive, and down here I'll have my data 1. And that's what we're going to do. Now I've already done the merger up here, so you're not going to see that. Definitely been a lot of those in my previous videos. But what I'm going to do right now is going to move the camera over to the bench, so hopefully, y'all get a good view of what's going on here. And my new bench setup is a lot better, and we'll bring our Kylo Ren saber in here and make sure that everything's straight. And we're getting ready to rock and roll. And I'll bring you guys back into the scene, and you guys can see what we're dealing with here. Oh, NeoPixels falling everywhere. NeoPixels from heaven. It's crazy. All right, well, let's get you guys back in here on the bench. Bam. So here we are. This is our KROR crossguard. You can see the engine here. You can see a bunch of wires in here. It's our chassis. It's got a dark speaker. Sorry, 28 millimeter. This is their elite dark speaker from Smuggler's Outpost. And it just has the simple chassis. So that's it. We got a Proffieboard going in here, and it's already wired and ready to go on the Proffieboard. So let's get all the wires out of here and let's show you what they are. They are buried in there. So there's a lot of wires. And once I get all the wires out of here, probably gonna have to tape some of these to the side and such. I probably should have got these wires out before we started. What are you gonna do? I had them all tucked in there so I could get the bottom of the hilt on, so I could check and make sure that the J-locks and all worked. And then I believe that is going to be my battery positive. That is correct. All right. So here's all the wires. And it looks like a mess, but it's really not. The green, white, and yellow triple here, those are my switches. I'm probably going to tape them out of the way. Let me get some painter's tape here and start taping, stuff out of the way. Switches, I'm not going to need those right away. Just going to tape them out of the way. They're out of the way. My positive and my negative, I'm not going to need right away, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of tape them out of the way. So we'll get those out of the way. And then my speaker wires, I see them. They're not out yet. We're going to pull my speaker wires out because we're going to need them pretty soon. And, I think what we'll do is I think that's all our wires out. So there's my blue and green for my quillions, brown and gray for data. There's my black and purple for my main blade. And, I got my switch wires. So look, the negative, NeoPixel negative on the quillions, I had one quillion negative is green and one blue. You could have run them parallel. I would have probably paired them up with what I'm doing. But I'm keeping them independent. And the reason that I'm keeping them independent is so that I can do different things. You'll see, because I've already got the config written. Now, the two data lines for the quillions are this gray and brown wire. One needs to go to data 2, one needs to go to data 3. And this black wire is our main NeoPixel negative. And the purple wire is our main NeoPixel data. And these two blue wires are our speaker wires. So, looking that we need data 2 first. And I'm going to go ahead and call blue and gray our second quillion. And I'm going to put the gray on Hey Mountain Savers, hey Chet Osborne, Mundo Cabrera, Cinzy, everybody. I'm trying to get ready to go on this install. Let me go look. Let's go to screen share again real quick, and let's go show you my config file on this thing, because it's important that you see the config file, especially on a KRORssguard. And the reason it's different is because you got so many blades. You got 3 blades, and they all have to be wired to the right ones. So I scrolled down to the bottom of my config file, and this is the blade defines down here, and this is my first blade, which I've said has 140 pixels in it, but it doesn't. But I define it at 140 so we can dial it down in edit mode. My first quillion is going to go to blade 2 pin and blade power pin 1, and my second quillion is going to go to data 3 blade power pin 4. So I'm going to put this quillion, I think, on data 3, but my data 2 needs to be gray. So I'm going to keep this up because I'm going to need to come back and refer to this later. Let's go back to y'all. So at any rate, we got a lot going on. Let's bring in my Proffieboard. So here's my Proffieboard. Just got this from KRORssguard yesterday. Finally got my shipment that I ordered in December. And I've already done the merge here. And we are going to actually do this solder first, which is our main blade, which is hooked to LED 2 and 3. And don't worry, I'm going to zoom y'all in, when it's appropriate. And I know that, I got to get all these other wires free and clear to make sure that we're good to go on this main blade. Let me get my other light down in here because I need to make sure the wires are untangled appropriately, because I really want this main blade, to be decent. I don't want a bunch of tangled wires underneath the board. So I'm going to need my speakers in a minute. There we go. That's my black wire. This is my black wire right here that's going to feed my main blade. And I'll get y'all zoomed in here in a second. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a little bit off of this black wire. Enough where I can still get in there and strip it though. And I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and come in here and I'm going to grab it with my needle nose pliers. I'm going to strip it. I probably should have taped some more of these wires out of the way, but we're going to need them quickly in short order. So I'm going to get these speaker wires out of the way because they're going to be mondo in my way. purple data wire, Mondo in my way. And I'm going to need these, the brown and the gray here pretty quick on data 2 and 3. So I'll leave the brown and the gray out. We're going to go ahead and get the blue and the green out of the way, which are Quillian NeoPixel negatives. There, that kind of makes it a little bit easier. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solder. Yeah, no more Zadig. I saw that. How cool is that? I think Frederick found a better solution there. Just wanted to say hey everybody. So this one's got fonts by Mountain Savers on it once we get the SD card plugged into it, and Jay DeLorean and K-Sith and Kyberphonic, of course. You know, I'd be remiss to not include them as well. So this thing is going to be pretty awesome. All right, so now I need to get my Proffieboard back in the picture here. And there she blows. I was looking for it. I was like, where is my Proffieboard? I'm losing my mind. And I like doing this one. I'll get the camera adjusted here in a minute. I like doing this one because it's going to be upside down. And it's going to be, you know, this is a difficult solder here. So this one's going to be my first solder. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to, you know, bend this wire that we stripped over so that we can get it onto the board. And then I'm probably going to have to adjust this. Probably going to have to adjust this and then we'll try and get y'all on here. So y'all hang in there. Let me get you zoomed in. And I'll show you where we're working. We're working right here. This is a hard one for y'all to see, but basically I'm just going to solder our main blade NeoPixel negative, which is our black 22 gauge wire. This is going onto our merge. So basically, boom, bloop, just like that. So now our main NeoPixel negative is on. Bada bing. So now I need data 2. Now data 2 I said was going to be our brown wire. And I'm going to get y'all zoomed out again. So stand by because the board will be right side up from here on out. So, you know, it should be a lot easier. Yeah, it's crazy. So, all right, so I'm going to need data 2. Data 2 is the second pad here. I'll try and point that out. Data 2 is the second pad. And I believe from looking at our config, let me look over at our config again. I'm not going to show it to you guys, but data 2 is, yeah, that's going to go to our green wire for the second Quillian. But, you know, that thing's going to go up in there about like that. I go up in there a little bit further. So if I cut that wire about right there, that'll lessen the cram foo. And we'll go ahead and strip-a-roo. Of course, my tape came loose on all those wires. You know, I was holding them out of the way, but yeah, we'll get those wires, some of those wires coming. So twist in that line, then I'm going to come in here and give it a little bit of flux. I'm going to tilt this so we're not getting in the way of the board. I love how my tape came undone. I'm going to have to tape those back out of the way. That's a huge pain there. Those wires and those speaker wires are a huge pain, but I know we're going to use the speaker wires here in just a second. So. But those positive and negatives were a huge pain in the butt. All right, so this is data 2. This is going to be the data line to one of our Quillians. It really doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to turn the saver around here this way, and I'm going to bring in this brown wire underneath the Proffieboard. It's always a pain in the ass pain in the butt until until we get some of these wires out of the way. All right. That gray wire is going to kill me. I just don't need you right now, buddy. My hands are shaking really bad tonight for whatever reason. You know, my diet, who knows what's causing my hands to shake, but they're definitely worse than normal. Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit of flux on the subject, not that much, just a little bit, and try to zoom you guys into the subject at hand here. There we go. And we are working on this pad right there. Hopefully you guys can see it. Oh, Lord have mercy. Old people vision. That's data 2. Bada bing. Next wire I'm going to need is data 3. Now data 3 is going to be speaker, skip 1, data 3. So data 3 is going to be I'll show you guys here in a second. Speaker, skip 1, data 3 is right below the V2. So I'm going to bring in our gray wire in here. And I'm sure that we can cut some of that. I'm going to slide the Proffieboard a little bit forward. And I think if I cut it right below I should be okay. And throw away that piece of wire. Bring in our strippers. I used 30 for the Quillian data here. I would have preferred to use 26, but 30 was all I had, so I just used 30. 30 is fine. It's just 30 is a lot easier to part. And in this video that I'm doing, I'm having a full build video on these sabers, and right under the V2, and I'll do a confirmation here in a second. Lord, my hemostats came unclipped. Okay. Speaker, skip 1, data 3. And I'm looking at my Proffieboard diagram. That's one need too much. We don't need that much. We just need a little bit of flexor there. Speaker, data 3. So this is data from my second Quillian. Sorry if I don't have you guys zoomed in up there, but I'll try to get you guys zoomed in more as we get around the board. So now we need my speaker wires. So here's my speaker wires. And I don't want to cut them too short because the board's going to slide forward once we get it to the point where it's installed. So I'm just going to cut just a very little bit off these things to make sure I have enough wire to get my board to slide forward, because there's plenty of room underneath the board for wire to sit. The board actually sits kind of inside the top of the hilt quite a bit. I don't know why I have this tension in my shoulders tonight. It's crazy. Could be from playing hockey. Trying to see what you guys got going on. Yeah, I read about the No More Proffie thread on the Crucible, which is pretty cool. And for those of y'all that don't keep up with what's going on in the Crucible, that's definitely how you keep up with what's going on in the Proffie world with development between development of OS 7 and, advanced features that Frederick is doing to make, the Proffie OS better. Frederick knows Zadig was a pain in the butt. That's probably what most people struggled with, and he was really searching for a better driver installer for, us Windows users, and I think he found one, and, God bless Frederick for that, because Zadig was, you know, not fun. It was a pain in the butt. And, he's trying to make it less of a pain in the butt. So these are speaker wires, y'all, if I didn't say. And speaker wires coming up through the holes. I know I'm not zooming y'all in and out as close as I usually do, but, when Jeremy's doing his live videos, he's not even zoomed in. You can't even hardly tell what he's doing. So I figured I don't need to zoom in and out. Plus, I'm trying to do this, trying to expedite this, so we're not on for 3 hours tonight. This should be a quick, and installing a Proffieboard to me is usually about a 45-minute to an hour escapade. So, oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so next wire that I'm going to need. I don't need this negative. I don't need LED 6. So my next wire is going to be my yellow auxiliary switch. So I am going to need my yellow auxiliary switch out of this bundle. And that means that's going to be this wire right here. Because that's my green, white, and yellow bundle. And I always make yellow my auxiliary. And, leave plenty of wire. This is pushing forward into where the wires are coming from. So if I cut the wire to length here, it should have plenty of slack to move forward. And this is 30 gauge. Let's bring in some flux on this. And then we'll pin it. I'm trying to keep all this in the light now. We're tinning this wire. Oh, I bent one of the strands down. Trying to stay away from that board. There, I cleaned it up. All right, this is our auxiliary wire. And I'm going to grab it with my hemostats, and it comes up through this corner. I know that because I'm looking at my diagram here on the wall, which you guys may not be able to see the diagram, but I'm looking right at it. Let me try and make sure you guys are in frame on this one. I'll show you where we're at here in just a second. You should see where I'm applying the flux, but we're right here on this corner. This is the auxiliary switch on this side. God, my hands are shaking really bad. Extraordinarily bad tonight. Okay, now LED 5 I don't need, but I do need LED 4. Now LED 4 I think is going to be blue. I think that's what we said. We're going to make that clean blue. So LED 4, if I cut it right about there, we should have enough to get through the slack. Yeah, Zadig can be janky. The problem with Zadig is if you ran it, more than once, you screwed yourself. And then you had to go and watch Frederick's video. It was something that needed to be improved. And for those of y'all that don't know, Frederick's always trying to improve Proffie, and he's always trying to improve it for everybody, not just, I think he's a big Linux guy, but he's not just trying to improve it for the Apple or Macintosh people, or the Windows people. He's trying to improve it for everybody. He wants everybody's experience to be, a positive experience on Proffie. And, that's pretty cool. All right, so now we're up through LED 4 there, and I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me look at my config file again. Config file, yeah, LED 4 and data 3. So, all right, we're on LED 4 here. Need a little bit of fluxers there, not that much. And we've already soldered our main blades. That means power wire is next. Oh, there it goes. Normally I don't like being on the pad that long. I just couldn't get solder to flow there. There it went. So now we're turning around because now we're on this one, which we're going to need a green wire, a green switch wire, which that's our main switch, which I always make green. For those of y'all that haven't watched my videos, I always make my main switch green and my auxiliary switch white or yellow, and then the common ground of both is white, which is what I did on this saber. And you guys will see, when I release the video on this saber, I have the whole build, from heat gluing the quillions to, installing the stock adapters and drilling and all that stuff. This will be an entire build video. This install will be part of it. And, the video is about 3 hours long. That's why I'm trying to expedite this tonight with not a lot of zooming in and out. I'll try to make sure you're in frame here when I put this up through the hole, but yeah. Frederick's always trying to make it better, the Proffieboard better. I was a little frustrated with OS 6, and not with Fernando or anything in particular he did. It was just there were some glitches in OS 6 that I didn't like, and there were some things that I think Fernando's gone and fixed that he realized was a problem for people. And I'm thankful for that. I do like OS 6. Don't get me wrong. OS 6 is pretty cool, but it just had some glitches that were frustrating. It had some intricacies that were frustrating. How about that? And I think Fernando's adding some stuff to fix some of those intricacies in OS 7, at least from what I can see. So things are getting better. So this is our main power wire here. I'm trying to make sure y'all are in frame for this sucker. And we have moved around to the other side, so we're soldering right here, right there, trying to get y'all in frame a little bit better. Oh, no. Don't come loose on me now. All right. So we're right here is where we're soldering. Here we go. This is our main switch. Green wire. Very, very good. Very, very good. Now, the next wire we're going to need is our green, which goes to LED 1, which is right next to the main switch. So we're going to need this green wire, which that's our other negative wire to our quillion. And I figure I'm going to cut it about right there. Should be golden. Should be able to cram through that in there once we get her soldered in. This is 22 gauge. This is feeding my left quillion, I guess. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing fluxed and tinned. Get it back into the picture here. Take me out of the picture, Holly. There we go. Bada bing. All right. So now we need to grab this with the hemostats right underneath where it's stripped. And we're going to push this up through LED 1. Just like that. And there's quite a bit of wire sticking up, so I'm going to try and trim that flush, which we did. A little bit of flexors, a little bit of flexors on the subject. And we'll make sure that you guys are in frame. Should be right here in the center of the picture, right here. LED 1. This is our other quillion. So, these KRORssguards is like 3 lightsabers in one. Because you have the main blade and then you have the quillion. So, you really got three main blades popping. All right, so now we're getting to where we need the power wire. So I'm going to pull my white wire out of this tape. Our white wire is our main battery negative. And I do not want to cut this one too short because our board has to slide, pretty far forward in there. So I don't know that I'm going to take a whole lot off of this. I'm going to take a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and strip it. 22. This is coming directly off our battery negative tab. This wire comes directly off our battery negative tab. Like I said, you'll see the full install when I release this video. I don't imagine I'm going to be releasing this video probably this weekend. Definitely before next week. I just have a couple more edits to do, and then it'll be ready. That's probably going to have too much solder on it to get it through the hole. So there, to wipe some of the solder off. This is our main battery negative. Main battery negative is going to come up through this hole with a big ground spike right next to it. Just like that. Just like that. And I know there's quite a bit of wire sticking up there. So I'm just going to trim some of it. And then, oh, don't do that. We're going to come in here for the kill. Y'all can't see that crap. This stupid thing. Why is it moving on me? Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm pretty sure that you can. I'm right here. Right under those tweezers. Going to heat up that pad and blow solder to it. Just like that. Awesome sauce, baby. Now, the next wire next to that is my common ground to both switches. So I'm going to take it out. And I don't know what's happening with my... Let me try and fix my camera here. Because we kind of got all amok. All right. So, my common switch ground is going to come here, but it's going towards the switch, so I can cut off that wire. We're solid there. I use 30 gauge here for my common switch grounds. And, just strip about 1 inch off there, twist, and then we'll tin this sucker. Okay. Now we're going to bring the common ground in here. I'll try and look at the chat here in a minute. I haven't looked at it here for a couple minutes, so I'm going to try and bring this in. Problem with these 30 gauge wires is they're skinny enough to go up through the hole with the jacket. And you got to be careful you don't get the jacket up through the hole. So, I'm all caught up on the chat. Mountain Sabers was the last person seen it. Hopefully the stream didn't drop. I guess the stream's still going. All right, this is the common switch negative. Common ground to both switches. Bada bing, bada boom there. And now I need my positive wire. Now this is a positive from my switch. This saber actually has a switch here. Ugh, let's see if we can find the switch on the camera. Saber actually has a switch right here, an on-off switch. And this positive wire comes off that switch to feed the Proffieboard positive. Again, I want to leave enough slack because the Proffieboard has to go pretty good forward from here. This is 26 gauge wire coming off that switch. Feed the Proffieboard positive. Now, a lot of people are like, hey, why aren't you using 22 gauge? Or, that's one of the power supplies. Well, remember, the main thing is, in a DC circuit, theoretically, you got juice flowing from negative to positive, and most of your amps, the volts are scrubbed off on the blade. So by the time the power comes back through positive, you're just not carrying the amp load on that positive circuit. So Positive wire doesn't need to be as big. That's why, Frederick suggests, switching your positive circuit instead of the negative circuit, because the amps that are going through the positive circuit are much less than they are on the negative circuit. Much, much less. So that's that. I'll get you on frame here in just a second. I see y'all are out of frame. I'm gonna work on it here in just a second. Oh. Problem is my thing keeps coming loose. I love my new camera holder, but sometimes it's real finicky. Alright. Now, this positive is real close to this ground and this negative, so you don't want to screw around on this one. I'm going to melt that flux off there, and then I'm going to go ahead and get a bead of solder down on that wire. And, I'm looking at it through my old man vision, and, I don't see any short circuits there. Last wire, y'all. Last wire, and then it's going to be, moment of truth. And when I route this wire, I'm going to be off camera with y'all for a second while I route this wire, because I want this one to be, somewhat neat. Because this is going to completely opposite of the underside of the board. And bring y'all back in here. So this is my last wire. This is my NeoPixel. Trying to zoom this out a little bit. This is my NeoPixel data for our main blade, and it goes to data 1. Now, data 1 is the third pad up here. 1, 2, 3. Data 1. And, if I cut the wire about EA long, should be good. Now, I was able to use 26 gauge on data 1. Now is when I really hope everything's, of course, y'all watch me install and I test everything as I go. And now, I'm really hoping that, once we put the battery in and the SD card on and we throw our switch, we get a boot sound, number one, and then we're really hoping that everything's working. So, hey, Mountain Sabers, see that you're still watching. We're almost done. So we'll be out of here in record time, hopefully less than an hour. That's pretty good, and then I'll be able to go to the edit bench and start putting the install of the saber on the edit bench. So I'm going to bend this wire over. This is our data 1. This is our main data line for a main NeoPixel blade, which is pre-resisted on the Proffie 2.2, which is pretty awesome. But I'm also running stock adapters on this thing, and each stock adapter is also resisted. So, there's definitely data line resistors on all this. There we go. Good thing, too, because my hands started cramping up there right when I was soldering that one. Oh, no, something's going on. All right, rock and roll. So now we get all this tape out of here. Now, look, one thing I'm not going to be able to do tonight, y'all, is I'm not going to be able to put the back of the hilt on, because I got to glue this Proffieboard down into the chassis. So I won't be able to put the back of the hilt on, but you guys will be able to see it. So the Proffieboard is going to slide down in there just like that. Bang. Clean install, right? I'm going to have to glue that down, so I'm not going to be able to glue it down. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take my SD card, and I'm going to go ahead and pop my SD card that I've pre-programmed with Mountain Sabers and J. DeLorean sound fonts, along with K-Sith and Kyberphonics. And we're going to pop that down in there nice and gentle, just like that. Now, I'm going to bring in a battery. And this battery's kind of eat up, but I'm going to pop it down in there. So there's our battery in there. It is a tight fit. I heard him talk about this. So hang on a minute. Let's bring y'all into, let's come in for the kill. I'm going to put y'all on screen cap, and y'all can look at the blade defines on my config file there. How about that? While I move the camera. I'm going to move the camera back over to the tripod so you guys can see whether or not I'm a hero or a zero. Who wants to make some guesses here? Am I a hero or a zero? What's going to happen? I need to zoom out. Stand by, y'all. We need to find out whether or not I'm a hero or a zero. That's the thing. So. Oh, hopefully this works, y'all. All right, let's turn these lights off back here. And we're going to bring y'all back in. So stand by. I'm coming to get you guys. Bada bing. You believe in me. Well, I hope so. Hey, you know what? Hell with it. Let's go ahead and put the coins in. Oh, you know what? Let's leave the coins out because that way we can see if the stock connectors work anyway. So I'm getting ready to throw the old switch on this saber we just installed. Here it goes. Error in the font directory. Yeah, I can live with that. We can fix that. Let's test the power button. Oh, that one's working. That one's working. That one's working. This is KRORssguard's original crossguard to Frederick's initial Fireblade. And then the next font is Unstable by Kyberphonic. That's awesome.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
I talk first. I always talk first. Well, technically you just talked first, but God damn it.
This is Mighty Kylo by Jay DeLorean. And then the next font should sound familiar. Quixani by Mountain Sabers. I gotta do a pre-on on it. I haven't done any of that. The long off on that one. But anyway, that's pretty cool. So let's scroll.
It's just Ben. How are you?
I suggest
For balance. Very no directly. For balance.
I suggest you try.
Very no directly. Very no directly.
Okay. I know there's an error in the font directory on KRORssguard. Yeah, it's going to be really loud once you put the body on, you know what I mean? Let's get these quillions on. Let's test these quillions. That's the next step we're doing here. Let me put my quillions in. I'm afraid to put the body on because the body's so. The body's I just don't want to short out the board, you know what I mean? But I'm going to put these quillions in and a main blade in here, and we'll check these. And I'll kind of show you why I wire them separate. I don't know if it'll turn out on the camera or what, but, you know. I know for one thing, I can tell y'all something. You know, the chassis on these are really fragile, the way they hook in. And I don't know if I connected that main blade. We're about to find out. I did. And we got both quillions working. That's pretty cool. Now watch this. If I point the saber up, the quillions ignite at the same time as the main blade. Oh no, I get a delay on that because it's the first preset. I designed that. But listen, here we go. Second preset. Now it works on this one. You point it up, the blades ignite at the same time. See that? if you point it down, the blades ignite separately. And not only that, you get the dual ignition sounds. And that works in all of these Kylo phones. This is Jay DeLorean's.
I talk first. I always talk first. Well, technically you just talked first, but... God damn it.
All right, here we go. This is Jay DeLorean's Master Kylo. You point it up, they come on at the same time. Point it down. You get dual ignition. And let's check on Mountain Sabers. Quick Sonny.
Life on their planet. As the star went supernova. All the pain, fear, and death felt by all of the living things concentrated to the crystal's matrix.
That's a long font wave. I haven't even heard that one yet. All right, so here it is, pointing up. I have the three on there, they ignite at the same time. And then pointing down. I don't know if I did anything on Quick Sonny. I can't remember my own sabers. But they should stagger. Yeah, dude. There's your staggered ignition. Now here's like some of the other stuff. Of course, it's got fire.
It's just bad these days.
And then I got Ben.
How are you? I suggest you try to get
My lightning blade, which is pretty cool.
let go your conscious self.
Obviously, I gotta adjust the class sensitivity. Balance. Oh no, that's my lightning blade on the balance. All right, this is gonna be the fire rainbow, and I've got it going in both coins. Have to work on that tune too. All right, so here's the rainbow blade. I know rainbow doesn't show up really good all the time, but that's definitely rainbow blade. And I got this quillion is green and this quillion is blue. The bottom quillion's blue and this one's green, so that's pretty cool.
I suggest you try
This is Christmas, so I got a candy cane blade, red quillion, and green quillion.
an act of increase.
There's your Christmas pile. And this one I think is Patriot blade, so it's red, white, and blue stripes, and one quillion red, one quillion blue, and I think it's bagpipes. Yeah. And that's red, white, and blue going on the main blade. Top quillion is red, this one's blue. So yeah, man, that came out awesome. And then back to the main fire blade. And that's it. So you know what? I'll try to. I think I'm going to turn that battery off before I do this, because I really don't want to. I just want to do a test fit here, and I don't know why that's so tight. Wow, that chassis is way too tight, man. That is way, way, way too tight. I do not want to do that anymore on the video because I've got a feeling that, yeah, I'm going to have to do something with that chassis because that's way, way too tight. I don't like how tight that is. I don't like how tight that chassis is. That's scary that it's so tight. Oh, damn. That chassis is way too tight on that handle. I don't want to mess it up. I wonder if I took the battery out, if it's that tight, maybe the battery's causing it to expand because it didn't feel that tight. Yeah, it's the battery making it expand. I wonder if I try just like a normal battery. You're watching me experiment now. Because that one had, you know, sticker on it. That's a little bit better, but it's still twisting the chassis, but there you go. Maybe I need that. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to need on there. But at any rate, that chassis is tight. And putting the battery in made the chassis tight. But the initial battery I put in has a sticker on it. But you know, the Saber works. I'm just going to have to figure out what to do with that chassis. Good Lord, I got to get the nerd glasses off. I had the nerd glasses on. Why didn't y'all tell me? But that Saber's awesome, right? It's going to be incredible. I've got the full build video coming on this Saber. I'm pretty excited about it. And, you know, I'm still losing my weight. Get this chair out of the way. And it's been, you know, fun having y'all along for the ride. This thing is awesome. I'm going to be really proud of this build. One, y'all will see it in totality once. I'll try and put the bottom on so you guys can see it in totality minus the top red wire. You know, I still got to get the red wire routed through there, but, you know, you guys get a sneak preview of that. Of course, it's got a short blade in it right now just for demoing, but, you know, that thing is awesome. And, you know, this is, you know, one of these is going to be for sale and the other's mine. The one that's mine is, I broke the chassis on it. Same issues on this, so I'm waiting on a new chassis from KR on my Saber, but this Saber, you know, this one's going to be for sale once I get it finalized and fixed. So keep an eye on my channel because I'll definitely be selling that Saber. And, you know, Mondo success tonight. Lots of fun. I'm glad you guys came along for the ride. Hope everyone's having a good week. And I'm sorry if I wasn't in the chat too much with everybody. I'm trying to check everyone's chats. But, yeah. Hey, Mundo Cabrera, I was trying to figure out which 5.5. Oh yeah, bad batch tech going on. I was trying to find which prisms I had that were reprogrammed to 5.1 by Chewbacca, and I don't know. So I'm just going to send you two of them, and I know one of them at least should be programmed to 5.1, and you'll have to get the SD cards from, you know, the website. But I'm going to try and get those out to you here this week, I hope. I just couldn't figure out which ones were reflash 5.1. But, you know, thank you everybody for joining in, and you know, back to building these cross guards. It's been a fun build. It's been challenging and not challenging. You know, the chassis are a little bit tight. I really wish there was something that secured the top engine into the hilt. You know, because the chassis attaches to the top engine and also the switch is attached to the top engine. So I really think there should be some kind of solid mechanical attachment of the top engine into the hilt. Especially with a chassis that tight, but you know, whatever. I'll work on it and see what I can come up with for a fix. And thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, you know, may the force be with you, or the dark side, as it were. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Next week. #NerdUp.